Hello, and welcome to Ghostability with myself, Paranormal Mitch.
And Paranormal Teach.
Today is the fourth of 4 episodes in
Fourth of
regards
4.
to our elementals.
Yeah.
Today is the air elementals.
Yes. Last but definitely not least.
Correct. I think we're returning to some other stuff after this.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be fun.
Yep.
But I really like
Some
these
tips
episodes.
for collectors coming
Tips
up.
for collectors, yes.
Yeah.
But I really like these episodes. I think they're very fun.
Yeah.
I like all the research ones a lot.
Yeah.
But let's get right into it.
Yes.
So, wind and air spirits. So, air spirits are supernatural beings connected to the wind, breath, movement, and unseen current that ripple through the world. Across cultures, they are described as invisible presences, whispering voices, or fleeting, translucent forms that seem to shimmer and vanish like heat rising off pavement. Some appear as winged figures or drifting silhouettes, while others are felt rather than seen, carried in a sudden gust or a shift in the atmosphere. Unlike earth spirits grounded in stillness, air spirits are defined by motion, constantly shifting, impossible to hold, and always just out of reach. Air spirits are often tied to the sky and open spaces, inhabiting places where the wind moves freely like mountaintops, open plains, storms, and the space between trees in a dense forest. They are commonly associated with breezes, whirlwinds, storms, and even the simple act of breathing. In many traditions, air is seen as the bridge between the physical and the spiritual, making these spirits closely linked to thought, communication, and the movement of energy between realms. These beings can be gentle or overwhelming. A soft breeze may be interpreted as calming, guiding, or even protective, while strong winds or storms can feel chaotic, disruptive, and even powerful. Because of this, air spirits are often understood as messengers or intermediaries carrying signals, emotions, or intentions from one place to another. Their presence is rarely still or direct, instead showing up through subtle shifts, patterns, or sensations that require careful attention to notice. Air spirits symbolize intellect, freedom, communication, and change. They represent the constant movement of ideas and spread of knowledge and the invisible forces that shape both the natural world and human experience. Historically, people have connected with air spirits through breathwork, prayer, spoken word, music, and rituals performed in open air. These spirits remind us that not everything powerful can be seen or held, and that some of the most influential forces move quietly, carried on the wind itself.
And we are not going to forget it this week. We forgot last week.
Oh, I bolded and underlined it.
Oh, you did?
Oh, I did. See?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I stole your thunder. We forgot last week, but with all of the elemental spirits, one of the coolest things is that there is a common theme among them, or a couple of common themes among them that you see in these types of spirits. No matter what culture they come from, no matter what part of the world, no matter how old they are, there's always common themes with elemental spirits across cultures. So, as you are listening to a couple examples of these different types of spirits, try to think about what commonalities you're noticing between them. We will tell you at the end, but something to think about, because with all folklore, there's always a point. And yeah.
And remember to stay all the way to the end of the episode. We have our interview with our spirit of the week.
Yes, who is an air spirit.
And they had some fascinating answers.
Yeah, she's so cool.
She's very cool.
She doesn't really act like an air spirit. She's a little spicy for an air spirit, but you know what?
Air spirits can be spicy.
Yeah,
trust me, we'll learn about some
she's
spicy
got like
air
a
spirits.
fire side to her.
Well, who says you can't be a little bit of both?
That's
you know?
true.
Yeah.
She's into the storms, so it makes sense, I suppose.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Cool. Well, let's get right into our first spirit we're going to talk about. This is a deity. This is the Fujin, or wind god, also known as Futin, which is known as heavenly wind. They come from Japanese mythology, and this once again is a major deity of Japanese mythology. The origin of the Fujin is from Japanese mythology, like I said, with roots in both Shinto beliefs and influences from Buddhist traditions. He is often paired with his sibling or counterpart, Raijin, the god of lightning and storms. Fujin is considered one of the oldest Shinto deities and is said in some myths to have existed since the creation of the world. Very cool.
Yeah.
Characteristics of Fujin are typically depicted as fierce, demonic-looking figure with wild hair, a muscular body, and green or blue skin. His most recognizable feature is a large sack or bag slung over his shoulders, which contain the winds. By opening or closing his bag, he controls the flow intensity of the wind. He often wears animal skins and has a wild, untamed appearance. So if you ever see any art with like someone with like blue, green, and crazy hair, that's him.
Cool.
Yeah. He appears in a lot of art actually, because of just like his appearance, and He's known as a very popular deity from this part of the world. He's really popular in like poetry and all that
Yeah.
other stuff. Yeah. The habitats and territory. Fujin is not confined to a single physical domain, but is associated with the skies and the natural world, particularly the atmosphere. His territory extends wherever the wind can reach, across mountains, oceans, forests, and plains throughout Japan and beyond. Some activities and interactions of Fujin. His primary role is to control and release the winds through his bag that we talked about. He works closely with Raijin, and together they are responsible for storms and weather patterns. In mythology, Fujin is sometimes portrayed as both destructive, causing stuff like typhoons and storms, and beneficial, bringing necessary winds for agriculture and seasonal change. I do think it's fascinating how, they're associated with so many different things, but it can really be, a positive or negative thing, like a lot of the other elements we talked about,
Yeah.
right?
Especially in Japanese mythology, there's always a balance. So there's
Absolutely.
always a good and a bad, no matter what type of spirit it is.
For sure. Some of the cultural symbolism of Fujin. He symbolizes the power and unpredictability of nature. In Japanese culture, wind is seen as both life-giving and destructive, and Fujin embodies this duality. He is frequently depicted in traditional art, such as the famous folding screen Wind God and Thunder God, attributed to an artist by the name of Tawaraya Sodashu. I really tried to know these before I went into this,
We
but
have the pronunciations.
we have the
written down,
pronunciations,
too.
I promise. His imagery is often used in temples and shrines as a protective force. The temperament of Fujin, he is generally portrayed as a wild, chaotic, and untamed god, reflecting the nature of the wind itself. However, like a lot of the other spirits we'll talk about, he is not purely malevolent. His actions are often neutral or necessary within the balance of nature. His temperament can shift from breezes to violent storms. In the folklore, I think Japanese folklore is fascinating. There's some real cool things here. He appears in various myths describing the creation of the world and the shaping of the natural environment. In some stories, he helped clear the primordial mist that covered the earth, allowing the world to form. He is also a recurring figure in legends explaining storms and seasonal winds, often acting alongside his brother Raijin as both feared and a respected deity. There you go.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Very cool. All right, so we are sticking with Japan for mine with the Raiju spirit. So Raiju comes from Japanese folklore and is closely tied to Raijin. I got very confused because these names are very similar, two different things.
Yes.
So it is considered either a companion, servant, or manifestation of Raijin's power, embodying lightning and thunder. So Mitchell talked about the deity. I'm talking about the spirit.
Yes.
Confusing.
Yes. Fujin is the wind god.
Yes.
Raijin is the thunder god.
Yes.
Raiju
Is the spirit.
Is the spirit
Yes.
of Raijin.
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry, we got a lot of vocab that's real close. So Raiju is a shape-shifting creature. I love a shapeshifter. Most commonly described as a wolf, fox, weasel, or cat.
Yeah, quick side note, the art for this spirit is
I've seen it. It's
amazing.
really cool. Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah. And this wolf, fox, weasel, or cat is made out of lightning. Or surrounded by electric energy. Its body is said to glow or crackle with electricity, and it moves with incredible speed, often appearing as flashes during storms. Raiju inhabits the sky during thunderstorms. He travels within lightning bolts and clouds, which is so cool.
So cool.
So cool. In some legends, it can descend to the earth, particularly during intense storms, and briefly occupy either forest or open land. Activities and interactions. So Raiju leaps between lightning strikes and accompanies thunder. Like, I'm sorry, that's ridiculously cool.
I know.
That's ridiculously cool. It reflects the danger and mystery of storms and serves as kind of like an explanation for lightning strikes and thunder. A lot of times when there are things in nature that people either don't understand or may feel afraid of or just not like, there is some kind of spirit that is said to explain this and the function of it. And with this one, it is to help people understand the unpredictability of lightning itself, which is pretty cool. In folklore, also, it is said to sometimes interact with humans accidentally during storms. So you may have an accidental run-in.
Yeah, with a
But
little electric weasel.
like that's so cool.
I know.
I like the electric cat myself, but
I mean, I think all good options.
like that's so cool. So temperament, Raiju is typically described as aggressive or excitable during storms, but interestingly is otherwise like calm or completely dormant. So it just gets lit up by lightning.
Literally.
Its behavior is often unpredictable, which again reflects the chaotic nature of lightning. So in Japanese folklore, Raiju is known for quite unusual behavior, such I can't believe I have to say this right now.
Mm-hmm.
Such as sleeping in human navels, aka belly buttons.
Yes.
Yes, you heard that right.
Yes.
Yes, that is what the folklore says.
Yes, it is.
Yes, sleeps in belly buttons. Because of this belief, people were once warned to cover their stomachs during thunderstorms, and people really did do this.
Oh, yeah.
And still do. Stories also describe Raiju causing damage when it descends to Earth, reinforcing again the connection to the destructive power of lightning. So, cover your belly buttons, folks.
Yeah, people would like sleep on their stomach during storms. That was like
Yeah.
an old like myth.
Yeah.
So cool.
Is it?
The art of
I want some lightning
spirit
cat
is
in
so
my
cool.
belly button. I don't know about you, but
I mean, I think it's pretty sweet. Next spirit we're talking about is similar to one we talked about in the past. This is the Thunderbird. This is another really, really, really common spirit that you may have heard about in the past. So the Thunderbird originates from oral traditions of many indigenous peoples of North America, especially among tribes of the Pacific Northwest, the Great Plains, and the Great Lakes regions. While details vary by culture, it is widely regarded as a powerful supernatural being connected to storms, thunder, and the sky. Some characteristics of the Thunderbird. The Thunderbird is typically depicted as a massive, majestic bird of immense size, often larger than any natural bird. Its wings are said to generate thunder when they flap, and lightning is believed to flash from its eyes, beak, or feathers. It is commonly portrayed with bold, stylized features in indigenous art, sometimes with horns or very striking coloration. The territory of the Thunderbird is said to dwell high in the sky, often above the clouds or atop remote mountain peaks. In some traditions, it lives in nests on inaccessible cliffs. Its territory spans vast regions, and it appears primarily during storms, descending from the heavens. Some activities and interactions of the Thunderbird. It creates storms by beating its wings, producing thunder, and casting lightning. It is often described as battling the powerful underwater or serpentine creatures, such as the Mishipeshu or the horned serpent, maintaining balance between sky and water forces. Interactions with humans vary. Some stories portray it as a protector, while others emphasize its overwhelming power. Some of the cultural symbolism of the Thunderbird. It is a symbol of strength, protection, and divine power. It represents the forces of nature, particularly storms and rain, which are essential for life. In many traditions, it is also a guardian figure and a sign of spiritual authority, often associated with leadership and sacred power. The temperament of the Thunderbird is generally seen as a powerful and commanding rather than chaotic. It can be protective and even benevolent, especially towards humans who respect nature. But it is also capable of great destruction when angered or provoked. Its temperament reflects the dual nature of storms, life-giving yet dangerous. There is a wealth of folklore about the Thunderbird. In many indigenous stories, the Thunderbird is locked in an ongoing struggle with great water spirits or serpents, like we talked about, symbolizing the balance between sky and water or earth. Some legends describe Thunderbirds as punishing humans who break moral or natural laws, while others tell of them aiding heroes or communities. Its appearance during storms reflects its role as both a creator and a controller of thunder, lightning, and rain. So there you go.
love that.
Yeah, I think they're always so fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my next one, you may have heard this word recently, and this is the Kamazat spirit. If you are a fan of Stranger Things, you heard that word many times in the
Yes.
last season. So I thought it was kind of fun to include this too, because they never really explain it. They just keep saying like Camazotz over and over and over in the show. So this is what that is, and it is an air spirit. So Camazotz originates from Mesoamerican mythology, particularly within the traditions of the Mayan civilization. It is most famously recorded in the Palpuvu, which is a book recounting the mythology and history of the Mayan people, where it appears as a terrifying bat-associated entity. It is linked to death, darkness, and sacrifice.
It's pretty intense.
So Camazotz is typically depicted as a monstrous, human-sized or larger bat or bat-like humanoid creature. A little spooky. It's often associated with sharp fangs, having a blade-like nose, and wings that are capable of swift, silent flight. In some artistic depictions, it carries or embodies weapons too, because, as if it wasn't a weapon in and of itself. Let's add some.
Yeah, I know. It kind of gives Mothman to me a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And these weapons are said to, in the art, reinforce its connection to sudden death and decapitation. Yikes. So Camazotz is said to dwell in dark, dangerous places, most notably the House of Bats in the Mayan underworld, known as Xibalba. This realm is a place of trials, fear, and death, where Camazotz lurks in caves and shadowy chambers. Camazotz is known for attacking and killing those who enter its domain. Not friendly.
Not friend.
Not friend.
Not friend, not friend shaped,
Nope,
not friend.
It's just not. In myth, it ambushes victims in darkness, using its speed and deadly features to strike quickly. It plays a very significant role in trials faced by heroes in stories, particularly in encounters that are meant to test the hero's survival, awareness, and courage.
Yeah, this is another one that you've probably seen art of.
Yeah.
It's also very, very, very common in like stories and legends.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, you've probably seen it and just didn't know you've seen it, kind of thing.
That's how it is with a lot of these spirits.
Yeah.
Is it's like you kind of are aware of some of these like depictions, like the Thunderbird, for example. Like you've definitely seen,
Yeah.
like the totem poles on the top of totem poles. A lot of times the Thunderbird or through there, like you've definitely seen it.
And especially with like how hot fantasy is, especially right now, a lot of times different creatures and things in these books are based on these old school spirits from different mythology around the world. So
absolutely.
Yeah, this is a big one. So cultural symbolism. It symbolizes death, night, and sacrifice, reflects the dangers of the underworld and the fear of unseen threat and darkness. Bats themselves were known for holding complex symbolism in Mesoamerican culture. They were often associated with both death and transformation. So that makes Camazotz a powerful representation of mortality and the unknown. Temperament, in case you couldn't tell before, typically portrayed as very aggressive.
Yes.
Predatory and relentless. It does not act as a protector or a guide, but serves primarily as a lethal force within the underworld. Yeah. Its behavior is swift and merciless, embodying sudden and unavoidable death. So, folklore in the Palpavu, Camazotz appears during the trials of the hero twins, where it inhabits the House of Bats. In one famous episode, it decapitates one of the twins, demonstrating its power and reinforcing its role as a guardian of the underworld's danger. This story highlights both the peril of Xibalba and the cunning that is required to survive its trials. So, dark, spooky, interesting, scary, all the things.
Yeah.
We love it.
I think it's also another good example of how just because something is like associated with the underworld doesn't have to be like a fire or earth thing. Like it can very well be like a giant bat or something associated with the air or the wind. Like it's very easy for that to be the case.
I feel like air spirits are very commonly confused with like light and airy and white and cute and all of those things, and it's just not always.
Yeah, and they absolutely can be.
Yeah. Oh
right?
yeah.
They
Like the
absolutely
next
can
one.
be like the next one. But you have to think about what comes with the air, and it's like it's storms, it's chaos, it's rain, it's things like that,
Yep.
and that comes from the sky, and a lot of times associated with like weather and air.
Yep.
Yeah,
For sure.
for surezies. Cool. So the next spirit is the Perry spirit.
And fun fact, Luna, who is our haunted doll that has the little white cat vessel, Perry is one of the theories that people had come up with for her for what she was. Nobody really knows, but Perry very much fits the bill. So,
Yes.
yeah, I'm curious about that.
Yes. So if you know of Luna, you can see if there's any similarities that'll line up. So the origin of the Peri spirit is from Persian and later Islamic mythology, particularly within the traditions of ancient Persia. It appears in early Iranian folklore and Zoroastrian influenced beliefs, later evolving in Persian literature as a more benevolent and ethereal spirit. Some of the characteristics of the Peri, they are typically depicted as extraordinarily beautiful winged beings with a radiant, almost otherworldly appearance. They are often described as human-like but much more refined, sometimes surrounded by a soft glow. Their forms are graceful and delicate, emphasizing purity and elegance, and they are frequently associated with light and air.
Complete opposite of the last one.
Total opposite of the last one.
Total plot twist.
Exactly. Peris are said to inhabit the upper air, the gardens of paradise, or hidden enchanted realms. In some traditions, they dwell between the earthly world and the heavens, unable to fully enter paradise, but not bound to the material world either. They are sometimes linked to remote natural places such as mountains or lush, secluded gardens. The activities are where you get like a lot of the cool stuff about the Peris. So they are generally benevolent and may interact with humans in gentle or helpful ways. They are sometimes depicted as a guiding or aiding virtuous individuals, offering protection, inspiration, or blessings. In literature and folklore, encounters with Peris often involve themes of love, longing, and moral testing. Moral testing, a big one. The cultural symbolism of the Peri symbolizes beauty, grace, and spiritual refinement. It is often associated with purity and redemption, especially in later Persian literature, where Peris seek forgiveness or acceptance into paradise. They also represent an idealized form of femininity and celestial elegance. The temperaments of the Peris, they are typically gentle, kind, and compassionate. Unlike many other spirits, they are rarely portrayed as malicious. However, they can be distant or sorrowful, reflecting their position as beings caught between worlds and striving for spiritual elevation. In the folklore, Peri's spirits, in Persian stories, in poetry, Peris are sometimes described as fallen or excluded beings seeking redemption, often through acts of kindness or devotion. Over time, they became more purely benevolent figures, contrasting with darker spirits like the Dev, which is known as a demon spirit. Their portrayal in literature emphasizes themes of love, purity, and the hope of eventual acceptance into the divine realm. So there you go.
They're lovely.
Lovely.
I love those.
Yeah, they're
Very Luna coded.
Very, very Luna coded.
Very Luna coded.
Or is Luna Perry coded?
Maybe Luna is
Could
Perry coded.
be.
I don't know. So my next one you are also probably familiar with, and that is Maui, who is the keeper of the winds from Hawaiian mythology. Maui originates from the mythologies of Polynesia, appearing in the traditions of cultures such as the Maori of New Zealand, as well as Hawaiian, Samoan, or other Pacific Island societies. While details vary greatly across regions, Maui is consistently portrayed as a culture hero, a trickster, and a demigod. He is depicted as a powerful, youthful demigod with great strength, intelligence, and magical abilities. He is often associated with having a magical fish hook. You have probably seen his portrayal in Moana, which he uses to perform incredible feats. Unlike purely divine beings, Maui is much more human like, both in his form and his personality, combining heroic qualities with both cunning and mischief. He operates across the natural world, including the ocean, islands, and the sky. He is not confined to a single realm like some spirits are, and frequently moves between land, sea, and even the heavens or underworld, depending on the story and the region that you're reading it from. His presence is tied to the shaping of the world itself. Maui is known for performing extraordinary deeds that benefit humanity. These include slowing or capturing the sun in order to lengthen the day, fishing islands up from the sea, and attempting to conquer death itself. He often interacts directly with both humans and gods, sometimes helping them and other times challenging divine authority through trickery. Um, so he symbolizes ingenuity, um, rebellion, and the human desire to overcome natural limits. He represents both the clever trickster and the heroic figure who improves the world for humankind. We talked about this in the trickster episode, but tricksters now have kind of taken on this like Christian worldview, which is like they are deceiving you, they're deceptive, they're lying about their identity. But Maui is a good example of kind of how the trickster was portrayed originally in folklore, from way back when it started, which was really to challenge people
Mhm.
and to kind of serve as this like liminal role between chaos and control. And tricksters were known for being able to do things that other spirits could not accomplish because they kind of had this dual nature. And it was never seen as evil. It was just more so they served a purpose, and that purpose was often a lesson. And I think Maui is a really good example of that. So his stories often explain natural phenomena and also reflect cultural values around bravery, intelligence, and ambition. As far as his temperament, he's clever, bold, and mischievous. He is not malicious, but can be reckless or overly ambitious, sometimes leading to unintended consequences. His temperament often blends humor, bravery, and defiance, making him both admirable and flawed. Which I love folklore like this that shows them in both lights, where it's
Mhm.
like they have flaws just like people do. And how does that play into their ability to also be a hero? I think it's very interesting.
Well, and I think too, a lot of times with these types of spirits, you almost always get a flaw because there's a teaching lesson,
Right.
right? Of it's like, oh, a spirit is, or a god is greedy, or they're jealous, or something like that. There's always some sort of flaw built in.
Yeah.
Nothing is a lot of times
And that flaws a lesson.
exactly. Nothing is like purely good or purely bad. That's a much a very broad stroke on something that's really much more nuanced.
Yeah. So in folklore, many famous myths center on Maui's exploits. In Maori tradition, he uses his magical fish hook to pull up the North Island of New Zealand from the ocean. In another story, he snares the sun to slow its movement across the sky, in order to give humans longer days. One of his most well-known tales involves his attempt to defeat death, by entering the body of the goddess. Man, this is such a hard word, and I have the pronunciation right here, and I still don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it. But it's like Hininu Witipur, something like that, which ultimately fails and results in his death, which explains why humans remain mortal, which is pretty interesting. So, that is all of our spirits. So, if you have been thinking about the common themes between them, here is your answer. So, common themes. So, wind equals invisible power. So, it's often personified as gods or spirits with control over the weather. Sky equals divinity. So, many airborne beings are celestial or divine messengers. Storms equals danger. Creatures tied to thunder and lightning tend to be feared or powerful. We saw that a couple times as well. And then the air itself equals freedom and trickery. So lighter spirits are often also mischievous or elusive. So that is our air spirits, and some examples of what those could be, what it could look like. So that concludes our last element.
Last one.
Before we go back into some tips for collectors. But we are about to go into our commercial break. You have a 1 minute dance break, and then we will be back with our spirit of the week, who is an air spirit. And she's a whole party. We love her.
Oh,
She's so great.
excellent.
So stay tuned for that. Take your dance break, and we will see you momentarily.
I was built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past. I'm achieving, got my foot on the
wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name, check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change, possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be. Living in a time where disease is on every screen. I won't let them fester me, I know most are festering. Negativity is a plague for the mentally weak. No mercy, all I got is working. Never stop searching, never quite so thirsty. I'm toxic and psychotic, but there's logic, you can't stop it. It's been chronic since I was a boy, so neurotic and chaotic.
Built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the cast, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grave and put your foot on the gas.
And welcome back from our commercial break. We have our spirit of the week. It is Zivile.
Yeah.
Taylor, why don't you tell us a little bit about Zivile and how they got here?
Yeah, so she is a Laume spirit from Romania. She is super interesting. She is known for being a protector specifically of women and women's rights. She's very affiliated with storms, rain, wind, all of the things that make an air spirit what they are. She is wildly sarcastic, which is one of my favorite parts about her. Like, she just has this like spitfire firecracker kind of energy about her, and she has a way of providing guidance in a way that I personally find very relatable. Like, she'll kind of like make an observation about you and like crack a joke, and at first it comes off kind of like a joke, and then you think about it and you're like, wait, like that is something that I need to work on. And she doesn't hold back. If she sees something and she thinks that it would help you to change that, like, she will come right at you with it. She is always kind of like cracking jokes. She does things in a very lighthearted way, but she's very motivated for change. One thing that I love about her is she communicates with animals, especially like forest animals. That's kind of her thing. One other thing that I love, Laume spirits are known for being like, they're just like notorious for being very proud, and just being like, I'm the shit, I know my stuff, and you're gonna see it. And she very much acts that way, and I appreciate that about her. I love like a spirit who like knows what they want and is gonna do their thing to get it, and she's very much that way. I find her very relatable, very entertaining. She's one of those spirits who like she beats, she follows the beat of her own drum kind of thing. So like, example of that I found very entertaining, and I've never had this happen before, but when we were filming her story video, I always ask them, like, oh, do you want to do it and whatever, and I also let them pick the equipment that they're going to use for the video. She picked that she wanted to use the cat ball. So I'm like, okay, great. Like, I pulled back everything that I was going to do, and I gave her the cat ball. And the second I put it down, I was like, oh, okay, like, can you turn it on? Like, immediately after, you just hear like she like punched I don't know if she like punched the wall or something, but it was so loud and it was like so instant. And I was like, well, if you wanted to use the wall as equipment, why didn't we just use the wall instead of the ball? I mean, like, you wanted the ball.
Yeah, choose the harder one, no problem.
I was like, it was just like the most loud bang, and it was just so funny, and she's just kind of like that to work with, and I love that she's a girl that gets what she wants. So that's a little bit about Zivile. She's fascinating. She's really unlike kind of anybody else that we have here. She's one of a kind, and I appreciate her uniqueness. So that's Zivile in a nutshell.
There you go.
Yeah.
So a reminder of how we do these questions. We do a spirit box session with the spirit of the week. We ask them the questions that are submitted by you guys. I write down their answers word for word, do not change anything. So here is our interview with Zivile. I asked Zivile, are you ready for your spirit of the week interview? And she said, what? I said, are you ready? She was like, oh yeah. She's very sarcastic.
Yes.
Like, very sarcastic.
Yes.
So first question is from Katie. How do you like to celebrate the element of air? I'm really trying to work on incorporating the elements into my practice. And Zivile said, I like dancing during storms outside.
It's
There you
a
go.
hard one to put into practice, but man,
Hey, you can go dance during a
kind of
storm.
want to try it.
I mean, come
Sounds fun.
on. Next question from Katie. I would love to know if there's any backstory or significance to Zivile's curly little antenna.
Oh, okay. So for context, on her vessel, she has these like little springs that are very different. I love it.
Yeah. And Zivile said, they look good.
Looking fresh.
And honestly,
important.
that's just the most Faye answer I've ever heard.
Oh,
It's
I
like,
know.
oh, what?
Well, because they
there's
look good.
There's probably some significance behind those. The significance is I look good. You're like, that's a good
That's
point.
significant, Mitchell.
That's a good point. I can't argue with that. Next question's from Janny. What is an animal that humans should pay attention to and watch, and why? Great question. Zivile said, all of them, but I do not think opossums get enough credit. I said, really? Why is that? They said they keep you safe.
Can we tell our possum story just because this is like the most hilarious story and we've never had an opportunity to tell it?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so fun fact. So Stormy, this is our tuxedo cat that you see show up in a lot of videos. Stormy was a feral cat that was like living around our old house. And, you know, I have this buck wild idea, even though I've never owned a cat in my life, to catch this feral cat. And I just became obsessed with him. I saw him walking through the snow and I felt bad about it. And then I just like had to have him. It was one of these things.
Yeah, it was one of those
And so I
things.
had to learn everything there is to know about cats. And, you know, I spiral hard when I like find something I'm interested in. And I saw that black cat with those little white feet. And I was like, I have to have him. And I'm allergic to cats, but I'm going to have him anyway. So I tell Mitchell, we're going to catch this cat. And Mitchell, being like the great sport that he is like, okay, if you want to. Like, oh, I guess I'll go get a trap. You know, like
we went to Home Depot, bought a trap, got some KFC fried chicken.
Yeah, you know. So we set out this trap to catch this cat. And first we caught a raccoon.
Yes.
That was the first one we caught on accident, trying to catch the cat. Second thing we caught.
Oh, a side note, raccoon, not that smart.
Not that smart.
Had
Couldn't even figure out how to get out
getting
of the trap, even
cage.
though we opened it for him.
Yes, I opened it. I like wiggled it
But
open.
he was pleasant. He was nice.
Oh no, he was pretty chill.
He wasn't mean. He
wasn't
was just like,
mean.
what the
he
heck
was,
are you
He was just
doing?
confused. He's like, I'm not supposed to be here.
I will admit that I did look up if you could domesticate a raccoon before we let him go. Turns out it's like not the best idea.
Not the best idea. Unless they're like born in captivity. It's a little different.
Yeah. So I was like, dang, I guess we gotta let the raccoon go. We named it before we let him go. And so then the next night, you know, I get excited. We wake up, it's like 4 a.m. and the trap is shut. And I was like, oh my God, I caught the cat. Like, hell yeah. And we go out and there's like the most angry possum ever.
Oh,
in
he
this
was
cage.
not a happy guy.
I mean, his mouth was like wide open. He was like hissing at us. I mean, he was pissed off. So, you know, the scary part when you like trap an animal is like, if you don't want to keep what you trapped, like you gotta figure out how to open it, right?
Yep.
But this possum, I was like this thing's gonna rip off our faces. You
Yeah.
know?
And Taylor, did you go open the cage?
Well, no. So what I did was I stood on top of the car, so that when it did get out of the cage, like it wasn't gonna come eat me, right?
Yeah, it was gonna eat me instead.
Yeah. So I stood on top of the car. Mitchell has a broom.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like trying to like weasel this possum out, and this thing is like freaking the heck out. We did let him go, but yeah, that's the only possum experience that we've had. I mean, and frankly, it wasn't too great. So when she's like, you got to pay more attention to possums, I'm like, dang, like
Yeah,
I've
but
got like
here's-
issues with that.
Here's the thing, though. The raccoon took like a long time to get out of the cage. He was not the
That guy
smartest.
was out.
The second that cage opened and he figured it out, he was gone. Possum's apparently very, very smart.
Yeah. But the raccoon
they're-
and the possum weren't smart enough to avoid the trap. Stormy was able to get into the trap and get out without setting it off to get the food, which made him tricky, but we did succeed and everything's great. He still lives here.
Still lives here. He's probably sitting on our bed right
the
now,
best.
just baking in the sun.
He's the best.
There you go.
So that's my possum experience.
Yes.
In case you wanted that, because watching a haunted doll podcast, why wouldn't you want that?
Next question is from Jenny. Spring is coming for the United States. Is there anything about this coming spring we should know about or specific things we should do for nature? Great question. And Zivile said, prepare your soil for growing. When the rain comes, let it help you. Okay. I said, what's the best way to prepare soil? And Zivile said, compost. So there you go.
All right.
Get your composting ready. Go put it in your garden. There you go.
Are you gonna do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I am now that she told me to. I'm gonna do it this
All right.
weekend. I'm gonna start a compost.
All right.
Yeah. Next question is from Jenny. If a movie was to be made about you, who in Taylor and Mitch's house would you want to play your part? Excellent question. And Zivile said, oh boy, it would be CL.
That's so interesting.
There you go.
Although I do feel like he's the one who has a mouth that could adequately match her mouth.
Yeah, he's got sass, but she's got sass.
She's like almost like a very bizarre combination of Zani and CL. It's like
Okay.
it's like if you blended those two personalities, it would be Zivile.
Okay. That's definitely a take.
It is. It is a take.
It's a take.
It's my take.
Next one from Jenny. Who'd be most likely to wait till Taylor isn't looking to cause chaos? Zivile said, Kai. Absolutely makes sense.
Yes.
And then who is most likely to pull pranks on other spirits? And Zivile said, lot of effort from Sunny.
That is true.
That is true. That is true.
There is a great deal of effort.
Yes. Next couple of questions are from Caitlin. Caitlin asks, I was wondering, in your terms, how would you describe what an oracle and a seer is? And Zivile said, they tell the future well.
Cool.
There you go.
She does do that.
She does do that. Next question. Do you have something about nature that you love? If so, what would it be? And Zivile said, lightning. Obvious. She is a storm girly. Storm girly. That's what she does.
Yep.
Next question. What is your favorite thing to do in the mornings surrounding nature? And Zivile said, watching sunrise. Precious. Precious. After a nice little storm. Ooh.
Ooh.
Ooh. Next question. If someone really wanted to connect with nature in a spiritual sense, but they were new to it or didn't know how to go about it, what are some things that they could start with? Great question. In Zivile said, start a talk. Maybe someone will respond. Very ominous. Hey, you never know. You
Start a talk.
start a talk.
Start a talk.
You don't know who will respond. Maybe someone will say hi. Never know. Don't know until you try.
I could totally see her doing that. Like just like punking somebody who's
Oh.
like trying to talk to a tree.
110%.
That would totally be her.
Yeah, she'd yell in their head and throw stuff at them. It'd be great.
Punch the
But
tree.
there'd be a lesson.
There would be.
Next question. Are you able to talk to animals? And can all Fae talk to animals or only some Fae? Interesting question. Zivile said, I can. Not everyone does, but there are a few.
Yeah, we really don't have that many that do. We have a couple that manifest as animals, but talking to animals is kind of a niche one.
Absolutely.
That was something that like really stood out about her to me because like
Mhm.
we really don't see that a ton.
No. Next question. Is talking to animals easy? And Zivile said, yeah.
She
Piece of
sure
cake.
makes everything she does seem easy. It's
Yeah,
like she's
I know,
so
she's a lovely
nonchalant about stuff.
Next question. What do you talk to animals about and what do they talk to you about? And interestingly enough, Zivile said, just like friends. Talk about life. They're just friends.
I'm just talking to the squirrel
Yeah.
about life.
Yeah, talk to the possum about what it's doing
But
later.
I want to know, like, what does like a chipmunk have to say about their life? You know?
Something.
Yeah. like,
Clearly.
I'm curious.
I mean, everyone has something to say.
Yeah, but like, I want to know, like, how would a chipmunk describe their own life?
I don't know.
Like,
I have to ask her.
I'm wondering.
Who knows?
Like, I
She
need
does.
that. I need that follow up question.
Last question. Do the Fae follow a religion or belief system? And Zivile said, no.
No.
I said, do you have anything else to add? Do you have any last words? And Zivile said, I'm the best.
And that she is.
That she is.
She's humble too.
There you go.
She's humble too.
Oh, yeah, she's the best.
She is the best, and she knows she's the best, and that's fine.
Yeah.
She is. I
Yeah.
mean, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that is our final wrap on our elemental episodes. We
Whew.
hope you enjoyed these. We typically don't do a ton of series type things on this podcast. We usually do one-offs. So if you liked this, let me know. And we can do this in the future on other topics. As always, if you have topics to suggest for us, something you'd like to learn about, let me know, and I can address it. Either we can do it on the podcast if it's something that would take a full episode, or if it's something shorter, that's cool too, because now I'm doing kind of these like mini lessons of the day for shorts. So either way, whatever you want to learn about, let us know. Drop it in the comments, put it in Discord under video requests, send me an email, whatever works. We would
Send
love
you an email.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I take a lot of emails.
I know. I just feel like there's lots of ways to get a hold of you, and that's not the one I would think about.
Yeah.
Okay, sure, great.
Yeah.
Don't send me an email.
No, don't send Mitchell an email, but you can
No.
send me an email.
Yeah. You could talk to Taylor. Talk to me through Taylor.
Yeah. Send us an email. Whatever. I don't care. Anyway, but we hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting us. If you would like to learn more about Zevile, check out her story link in the description down below. And that goes for all of our spirits of the week. If you are interested in learning more, if they are a spirit of the week, their story is also done on my channel. Go search up their name, and you can learn more about them.
You got a lot of them now.
I've been working on getting through all of them. I want to get through all of them. We're working on it.
There's
So,
always more being added.
yeah, I think there's like 40 something of them, but the first two had like 10 spirits each or 5 spirits each in them. So
Yeah,
we've
that's
gotten through
right.
a lot of them. So if you're interested in hearing more about their backgrounds, we just do a quick snapshot in their Spirit of the Week episode. But there's full backstories for all of them. So thank you for being here, and we will catch you next week for our live premiere at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on Saturday. Bye, everybody.